My story starts about 15 years ago. After months of poking and prodding and x-rays and no sleeping and no sitting and very little standing and walking, the doctors discovered that they found a tumor on my spine. So it was not a cancerous tumor, but the doctor said they were going to have to remove it. Like, okay, I'd like to walk and all that other fun stuff again without pain, so no problem. After the surgery, I was weak and could not walk again. And the doctor said I was going to have to relearn how to walk. So I set myself some goals. My goals were walk faster, walk longer, run, and dance with my wife. So after months of long days and long naps and long tries and walking faster and walking longer, and in November, I ran the turkey trot. So I reached that goal. And in January, I set up to achieve my final goal, which is to dance with my wife. The day before my birthday, a friend of mine who shared a similar birthday time in early January invited me to a birthday party he was having downtown. So I was working that night and Melissa was at home. So we decided to meet at the hotel. Like, she drove her car, I drove mine, and we met at the hotel where my friend's party started. And we hung out there for a while. I had a drink. We walked downtown, had a really nice dinner, had another drink, and then we went dancing. And it was awesome. We had a great time. It was everything I wanted. You know, while I felt stronger, I wasn't, you know, I'm not saying I was a great dancer to begin with, but you know, I could dance. At least I could. I was up on my feet. I was dancing. So night came to an end. We had a wonderful time, and Melissa and I started driving home, and we live on the east side of town. So we're driving on King Street, and we start drag racing. We're like, you know, it's the two of us and it's late, and I'm like driving past her and I'm waving and winking, and she's driving past me and she's winking and waving. And I turned the corner to where I was going to hit one of the side streets where I'm going to get to our house, when suddenly I see the lights behind me start flashing, and a police officer pulls me over. Look out the window, and I actually know the officer. I don't know him as a friend, but I know him from, I was a photographer for the York Daily Record and Dispatch for years. And so I knew a lot of these police officers by his name. And I was like, hey, how you doing? But he was all business. And he was just like, you know, do you know why I pulled you over? I said, yeah. He goes, you were driving kind of erratically. And I said, well, I told him what happened. I said, I didn't give him the whole story. I just said I was out with my wife and we were kind of flirt drag racing and I was being stupid. I said, but you know, that's what was happening. And he goes, okay. And he goes, have you been drinking? And I said, yeah, I had a drink at dinner. I said, but I hadn't drank after that. And which was the truth. And then we were talking a little more, and he said, so you haven't had anything else to drink? And I said, well, I had a drink before in the hotel before we went for dinner. And he said, oh, now you've had 2 drinks. If I ask you again, are you going to tell me you had 3 drinks? And I was like, all right. So in my head, I'm thinking to myself, no matter what I say, he's going to think I'm lying or I'm making it up or doing whatever. So I thought at this point, yes or no, sir, whatever he asked me to do, I'm going to do it. He says, I'll tell you what, I want you to get out of the car and I'm going to have you do a series of tests to test you to see how bad you've been drinking. I said, okay. He gets up and he starts and he goes, close your eyes, touch your nose as you do this. Okay. It's cold. It's January. I'm nervous, but I'm touching my nose. Now, to be fair, I'm not really good at, I'm not much of a drinker, so I don't know how long it takes for alcohol to burn out of my system. Like I've had a couple of drinks, but I'm not really sure how long it lingers. And then he says, I want you to do the alphabet backwards. And I'm like, I looked at him and I said, dude, I said, if I was sober, totally 100%, I probably couldn't do the alphabet backwards, but I'll try. So I go and I do it. And I mean, I muddle my way and he goes, okay, that's enough. I get to about T and he's like, okay, you're finished. And then he says to me, I want you to walk this line straight. And I thought to myself, do I turn to him? Do I tell him, okay, I've just had surgery a couple months ago. My walking isn't best. You know, whatever. I said, don't. I'm thinking, don't say a word. So I walk terribly. And he says to me, I believe you're intoxicated. I'm going to arrest you and I'm going to take you in to get your blood work done. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to fight. I don't want to argue with him. And I don't want to put him on a spot. So he pulls out handcuffs and I go, do you really need those? Like, I'm not gonna, but then I go, shut up. Like I say to myself, shut up. I'm like, he's doing his job. And if the tables were turned where I had to do my job and with him, I wouldn't want him to try to call for favors. So I said, okay, fine. So then I shift my brain and I go, okay, I've never been in handcuffs before. I've never been arrested before. So pay attention to everything. Like I would do perp walks and take photos. And so I always wondered about those things. And so I thought to myself, be alert, notice everything, like notice the detail, how the cuffs feel on my wrist, how it feels in the back of the truck when he loads me in, when he takes me out, how people are looking at me. So he puts me in the back of the van and I'm sliding all over the place. Like it's like on a bar where he has the other cuff and I'm like having a hard time sitting normal. And then he takes me into the hospital and I'm in cuffs with my hands behind my back. And I'm looking at everyone. I'm trying to eyeball everyone that's looking at me because I'm thinking to myself, I want to see what they see. So he pulls me in, they pull my blood, he takes me back home, and it's the day before my birthday, mind you. And I realized the next morning, he goes, I'll have the test for you tomorrow and we'll let you know where you go from there. But if your blood count is too high, you're going to lose your license for, however long. I forgot how long he said it would be. And it's like, all right, well, crap. I drive for my job. So the next morning when I get up and it's my birthday, I got to call my boss and say, this is what happened. This is what could possibly happen. The morning's a little rough for me because I'm a little concerned and I'm nervous. And then finally the police officer, he calls me and he says, I have the results of your blood, what the blood percentage, what alcohol you had. I said, okay, what do you got? He says, it's a 0.0. And I laughed and I said, he goes, you were acting you were very chatty. You were very friendly. I'm like, I'm chatty and friendly. I'm like, that's just who I am. So needless to say, it was a good birthday. That was a close call for me. But at the very least, I accomplished my goals. And that night I got to dance with my wife.